Hey guys, welcome back to UKCSGO. We are back here with another exclusive interview. We are with the coach of Viperio, newly Viperio. I am with Papp. You guys, not necessarily under Viperio, but as a squad, have made insane waves in UKCS this year, and you have ended the year amongst the best in the region. Firstly, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Tired from the weekend. Obviously, had to play this weekend, which was always fun. But besides that, yeah, doing well. Been busy trying to
Hmm.
work out the stuff with Viperio and the future and things like that. But all good.
Yeah, how was actually this weekend? Like even though maybe it's a little bit unfortunate that you guys couldn't play with like a squad and you had to stand in,
Yeah.
what was your overall experience of this weekend?
I mean, the experience was really good. Endpoint put on a really good event for everyone. I think no one really would have any complaints for
Yeah.
once being there and getting out. The admin team were really good. They put on a little after party at the end, which was nice. The whole thing was great. I mean, they knew what they were doing, and you can only appreciate and be grateful for that. Wish we were there in more
Mm.
fortunate circumstances. A bit annoying that we had to go with me, and then well, Josh is through our own choice, but yeah, a bit annoying that we couldn't go there with a competitive team, but we still had fun, and yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna circle back to kind of like all those points in a second.
Mm,
I just kind of want
yeah,
to close off this chapter by being like EPS ended, and there was a big like what's like who will take that place. Are you happy to
yeah,
see that like even though and we'll speak about the roster in a second, it's maybe not like necessarily UKCS roster, you're at least
yeah.
happy that like there's still sign it like are you happy that Science replaced EPS in a sense?
Yeah. Um, yeah. What? So like the UKIC thing being the replacement TPS,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I think the UK circuit, like the UK circuit in general, like this weekend was the culmination of everything that I think the scene needs and what we want. We need that like healthy, the healthy league system to build new
Mm.
players in, so it's not always the same people. And you do start to worry when you look down, like, oh, we want to get some new
Yeah.
players. We need to UK. It's quite hard to find them for a start, and and then it does start to feel like you're running out of options. So I think this is only healthy in the long run, like the grassroots of the scene,
Mm.
if you like. Um, I hope that Endpoint can continue to have the LAN finals like as they want to. I know there are some rumors that it might not be like that. It might be only the final for Div 1 and Div 2 at the LAN, which would be a shame after the weekend, but I understand like it's quite expensive for their point of view to rent out the rooms for that long. Um, but I think in general, the UKIC thing is a really good idea. And,
Yeah.
I think we should only really be grateful. I think Endpoint, I don't think they need to do the stuff that they do for the scene. I feel like maybe it comes across quite selfless a little bit. I mean, obviously they make money from it; they are a business, but yeah, I don't think they need to always sit there and do that compared to what other orgs have done as well. I think they really show that they do want to give back and
Mm.
help the scene grow, and not see UKCS be dead, um, which is always nice. And yeah, even when you compete with them like Endpoint in the past, like people would always be like EPS was Endpoint's league, they can do what they want
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Um, but they clearly want to help the scene and yeah, make it thrive. So it's
Y-
good.
Yeah, something I spoke to Endpoint about, and like it's really good to see them like still they just never leave and they always continue to help. And I think Pete is like it's so good having someone like that in the scene. And just looking at this year as a whole, because from my perspective, when you guys came into this year, I did not anticipate you guys to be like winning EPS and
Yeah.
being this team that is now like in some regards second third best team in the UK. Was like what was your expectation coming into this year as like a quite a vague question?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, like no one expects us to win EPS, right?
Yeah.
Like even even a month before EPS, we're sat there doing our like we're working on our team portfolio and seeing that, if we didn't stay with Raptors and stuff like that. So we had like a good idea on our future. And for long-term goals, we put winning ESL Prem, and even that at that time was a bit like is that like, do we laugh when we put that on there? Like, I didn't want to, but ultimately that is the at the point anyways, whilst it was still there, that was the
Yeah.
pinnacle of the UK, what you could win in our scene, right? So it had to
Yeah.
be on there. But no, we wouldn't have expected to win it. I think the times we did play it, we kept getting to the quarters and then we'd lose, quarters, then we'd lose. I think the difference between this one and the last ones were obvious in the sense that it was on LAN, right? So we got to go and play and have that big experience. So everyone did that went. I think that definitely helped. And the fact that we have we have young players,
Yeah.
some of which have already got great experience. Like at the start of the year, we didn't have. We started the year with a slightly different roster to what we quite pretty different roster. Sorry, to what we won EPS
Actually,
with.
very different, right?
Yeah, we started the year with only myself and Zoddy
Aatrox.
who
Yeah, it was
actually
just you
won.
and Zoddy, right?
Yeah, we had Aatrox, Sean, Ducky. Obviously, we played him in the semi-final of EPS with Verdant, and then we got Marco. Marco was a huge help in winning EP. He had brought a huge factor in winning EPS with his experience from the RMR. I think him coming out of all of the experience that you had with Viperio at the time, Verdant now. Disappointment at the RMR, well, even disappointment there, but it's an incredible achievement to get there. So it's like, depends which way you look
It's a
at it, right?
double-edged sword, right?
Yeah. His experience is there, coming back down, like sort of down a level initially when he came to us. I think that like gave him like a new, I don't know, like a new lease to play and like sort of, I don't know, not be the guy that it seemed like from our perspective when we got him, it was like he was the guy that got moved around, shuffled around, and then eventually sort of become maybe the excuse to why everything was bad. And his stats weren't great, but once we got him, it was like we couldn't really believe it. It was like they've sort of made a mistake for this one. um, so I think he was a huge factor in terms of like being able to achieve those things for sure. And then we've had me and Zoddy since the start, so I guess we have to give us we have to pat ourselves to the back somehow, unless we just got lucky the whole time. But no, it's cool to I think show that not just us and other teams can beat the likes of Endpoint and stuff, and everything's not just the Endpoint game, and you go into it like we had it recently with the Turkey, the Inter's Turkey
Yeah, the
League.
Turkey, like that Tolpus thing.
Yeah, the Tolpus thing. Endpoint did qualify. Well, they got invited, then qualified, and they're going out to Turkey in a couple of weeks, aren't they?
I
But
think
like even those things,
now.
like yeah,
Yeah.
they're out any time now, aren't they? I think that type of stuff. Some teams might look at it and be like, "Oh, there's no point in playing it because Endpoint are playing it." Whereas I think when you finally see like a big result on a stage against Endpoint, underdogs winning, I think that shows that like the UKCS, like the teams below are only improving, and Verdant can do the same. Like we could do it, they could do it. K10 guys now, like Docs and stuff, they're all equally as capable as we are doing the stuff that we've done. And I think that shows a lot about the way that UKCS is right now. Is you've got teams that can do well and not just play ESEA main, ESEA advanced. And I think in a year's time, I think the scene again will look a lot better.
Yeah, like it's definitely an upward trajectory. And like we've spoken about EPS and winning that, but looking at you guys a little bit more as a team, it did seem that you had a little bit of struggles after EPS.
Yeah.
Do you want to break down those struggles and almost would it be a thing of like you had such a high and was it quite hard to maybe like go back to that like slog and that grind?
Yeah, I think like the night of EPS, the win, I said to the guys like straight
Good
away,
night.
that's
Good
not
night.
yeah, he was there. Just like we have to just remember like it's although it's like a great achievement, it is ultimately one good day.
Yes.
Because we played the semi-final and the final on the same day. It wasn't like a really. I mean, we played the month before for the qualifiers and everything, which was a bit of a gauntlet. But we played every single one of those with a stand-in. After coming on, yeah, after coming off the back of winning, it is hard because you come back and I think we were all pretty down to earth, like in the sense that no one thought we were like amazing all of a sudden. So it wasn't like, oh come on guys, like we could
Yeah.
just beat everyone. Like I think we kept it down. We kept it level, and I think, to be honest, like, it's always hard to keep momentum going when you don't have. I think lands make a huge difference when you get people together.
Yeah.
And the experience is like, I don't know, the adrenaline goes, is slightly different, and people just play better, and they're more there for the fun. And especially when we had no pressure on our shoulders, that's also a huge part. Like, we didn't have pressure to win EPS. It might have been different if we were the favourites and we were sat there. If we were in endpoint shoes, it might have been different. They were huge favourites, and that they probably felt that towards the end of that. And I think coming out of EPS, our expectations changed, because naturally, when you do achieve good things, you expect to achieve more, right? You don't want to go backwards immediately in anything you do. But it is a grind, and these teams that we play online are unreal in a lot of sense. Advanced now, you're mostly playing top 80 teams constantly. You know, um, and we're not a full-time team. Like, we're not even endpoint. They do well. Naturally, they're going to do well in advance, but they are a full-time team with, God knows how much more resource than we had. It's hard. It's really hard to just go back and just go back to dominate. And I think when we come back, we did do well in advance. We finished 8-6, so it was one game off playoffs, like 1 point, literally, like round difference or so.
Oh
Yeah,
no, man.
which is like, okay, so it's not that bad. It's not like we come back and we just
Yeah,
immediately
yeah.
crap again. So we're still, and then we've done well in the sense, like, we got to playoffs in European Pro League, and we've been playing in. We got invited to Pinnacle Cup. We played play-ins in CC, which was a good experience for us. Like, all those things, apart from Marco, all those things are like new experiences for us all, really.
Yeah.
So it's like one bit at a time, and like we have to take the success with the disappointments, And when you're dealing with a team where every player is 20, we haven't. I'm the oldest one in the team by miles. There's no 25, 26-year-old veteran, like, they're all learning. And these online 9 a.m. games, that was hard. Getting the guys to get used to waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning to come play a game.
Yeah.
Those are the type of results where we're getting disappointments in, but like, they're just so, new for everyone. So it's not, I don't know, it's not like you can compare the success. They're not equally comparable. We go to Epic Land and don't drop a map, but then we've played the last 3 weeks prior to that online at 9 a.m. best of threes against, Project G, or whoever it may be, like genuine players that have played Pro League and stuff like that. And then we go to playing, the Army online. Of course we're going to do it better. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite hard. But
Yeah.
naturally, we did fall out of form. But I do think, we've we won that thing. We started to get invited to really high level competition, and yeah, we've got young players that've still got a lot to improve, and maybe some of it came a bit too fast. But then at the same time, you can't sit there and turn it away, because
Yeah.
it yeah, like, you need to, if you get an invite to play CCT, you're going to play it, and that's how it goes, really.
Like, yeah, I can imagine when you kind of phrase it like that, it's like, okay, you maybe weren't winning, but you have to go through those periods of finding difficulty when
Yeah,
it is something new. And it's something I didn't really clock. Like, yeah, you guys aren't full time. Some of you had jobs. You have a job.
yeah,
It must be
yeah,
quite difficult, actually, like finding the time to compete against these full time teams when,
yeah.
9 a.m. you're supposed to be in work. Like,
Yeah,
um,
literally. Well,
like,
yeah,
how does
that's
that
the
work?
that's the thing. What, with me, or
Or
the
just
team in
like I
general?
know Ifan has jobs.
Yeah,
Like,
so Ifan had a job, still has a job, but his was like part time, so he was scheduled around. It wasn't a full time
yeah,
thing.
okay.
And then we have a couple players in uni. Then I work, but ours is all about making sure the players are ready to play, awake.
Yeah.
Prepare. Note if we've done, if we've prepped for the games and stuff like that. And then once the game starts, it depends what time. If the games are early, it is quite hard to, because you're not full time. You just have to be as supportive as you can in the best ways, making sure people are generally ready. We have a couple that, like Zoddy, he's like commits his time to Counter Strike right now. He's like on a gap year type thing,
Yeah.
so he's got a lot of time. but it is hard, yeah, like naturally, and we do end up playing some of the games with like stand-ins with the jobs. Like Ifan missed a couple of games, but, so we had to use Josh Stair. Then we used Adam 9130 as well.
Epic,
We were quite
yeah.
lucky that we have good access to good players, and we
Mm.
learn a lot from them too, right? So like Adam's like been great with us. Like he's helped us. He come to Epic Land with us. He come and played most of the EPS qualies online with us. He played other. So like when you can bring someone in with that experience to come help you out, like that's huge too, right? Like he can come in and even if it's just seeing how he does some anti-strat or how he calls and just how he handles himself in the games, like that can be a huge help to us. And
Yeah.
people maybe don't realize like the type of players that we had access to that helped. Like even we use Cypher. We use Cypher
Mm.
for like a couple of standing games. When you can get him to come
Oh,
carry you for a bit, it's quite
man.
helpful. Yeah, and people the players are going to learn from him. He's been really good as well. He came and offered like to show people how to play, like how he plays some positions and stuff like that. So even though when we have had to use stand-ins, it's a bit annoying because you haven't got your full team. We've always been lucky that we can use up until now. We could use a good player, apart from when they had to use me. So
Highest
yeah,
rated player on the server.
I know. I can't make the joke because like, especially Zoddy will go crazy. If I wind him up about it, he'll be like, yeah, well, you was an entry fragging, you was just baiting everyone, and which is true.
Stats and misleading. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't dare talk. Everyone is real awkward, and all goes, oh, you did really well. You're the best rated. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah. I'm not that
Yeah,
good.
it's hard. Yeah, you like there's the eye test and then there's the stats test, and there's always
Yeah, if you
very
actually just
different.
watch me,
Yeah,
I'm not actually that good.
actually insane. Like first bit accuracy everywhere.
Yeah, just one tapping everyone,
Yeah,
just rolling it back like
yeah.
10 years.
Well, speaking about organizations, you left Raptors EC, and I
Yeah.
think like it wasn't actually that much of a shock when you do think about it, because I think what you guys were saying, like you were searching for more, and unfortunately Raptors couldn't quite offer that. Kind of a two-part question of what were you looking for, and like, I guess what
Mm,
was the decision to leave Raptors, and was there a bit of a fear of going unorged? Like there's been a
mm,
bit of an issue in UKCS since the dawn of
yeah.
time. Was that like a little bit scary, like actively putting yourself unorged?
Yeah. I would say like first off with Raptors, like Raptors were great.
Mm,
Really like one of the best orgs I've like worked with. All the guys there are all easy to talk to, good laugh, and I think a couple of them, especially like Brad Heaton and Smithy, I think they have like real potential to be like really good org people in
yeah,
in CS, especially if their age. Like even I like, had to remember that they're only young, and like, they're all like early 20s. They're not, and it started as like a bit of a friend project as far as I'm aware. But they were really good. They're the first team to really be able to offer us any sort of salary or anything like that. But as like we grew with them, it sort of become clear that the resources were very limited, which is understandable.
yeah,
Um, there's no, I think they took a huge chance on getting us, even like a low, like we're talking like nothing salaries. Um, but as we grew, we early on in Raptors we replaced Whiffin and um, Aatrox, and we picked up Awayken, who was straight off OG Academy, which was
yeah,
like a huge, yeah, like that was like at the time that was like a huge pickup for us, like picking up someone that's played a lot of HLTV, played with like great players. Um, so that naturally required a bit more resource from the org. Um, so that took a bit, and then we also had like agreements with land, like we had a couple of lands in our contracts. So naturally, we just become quite an expensive team to have for really what they were putting in. Although the counter argument is that we were successful with them. Of course, like
yeah,
we won Prem, being by far probably the lowest team. Well, the ex-Curtis guys weren't all Diva, but out of Verdant and Endpoint, those two are on like have crazy resource compared to where we were.
yeah,
So they got their money's worth. They just, I think, like the reason for leaving is more. Well, they never offered us a contract renewal in the first place. Like we never actually got a contract renewal from them, so we never turned them down. I think they just knew that they couldn't afford to offer us anything. As you know, as far as I'm aware, they're not looking to salary a team. Even the current team's not salaried, so they've had to take a big step backwards from their point of view, to, I guess, decide what they want to do.
Mm.
Because whether they, can build the sponsors, like, I think the problem is they're always playing catch up. They didn't really. I think during the
Yeah.
summer there was even talk where they were very quiet. A few of the guys left the org, uh, and it actually at one point was a bit of a worry whether we'd even get paid for the last couple of months. To which that's when we was really like, okay, like I need to find something else if like this is going to be sustainable.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden we won EPS, and like all of them got really, really interested again. All come flooding back. But by that point, it was too late. They couldn't build the sponsors, like to get any, well, what, no success off the back of like a huge win.
It was too
Um,
late. Like there wasn't any preparation going into it. Almost was that the case?
yeah, like they like as much as we didn't expect to have the success that we had necessarily. There was just no. I don't mean they expected it like at all. So when
Mm.
we did win, it just hit them like like a missile. Just like nuke went off. They didn't know what. And
Yeah.
then it's all the panic like, oh no, we need to try and do everything we can to try and keep them and that. And then
Mm.
ultimately, after a month or so, it become clear that they weren't going to be able to. And they, yeah, we didn't even have an offer to turn down. Like contrary to belief, people might think that we turned them down and put our nose up at them or thought we were better than we were. Like, no, we didn't even have an offer. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah, we were talking to a couple of orgs, org wise. So we were speaking to the K10 and Viperio. Um, Viperio, of course, like being gone since the RMR team left
Yeah.
and went to Verdant, and then K10 recently had the Adam JC team, right? Um, but yeah, I think looking for a new home was like the next chapter for our project.
Yeah.
Somewhere where we can have the foundation to look for the next year and a half. Next couple of years rather than the last year.
Mm.
'Cause we started it we started in the summer of 2022, so we've been going for like a year and a half now, and we have had really good success. But naturally, we need to try and grow. It was about time we
Yeah.
had to find somewhere that could grow alongside. And I think like we found that with Viperio for sure. They've had the investment pitch success recently, which is cool, and they've got a couple of serious people at the top of it who want to make it their full time thing like everyone does. But they're not putting their we're not relying on them to make a good wage every month to pay us.
Yes.
It's all off sponsors, and where they only agree what they can pay. It's all guaranteed. So it really provides us like well, for me as well. There's no point in us trying to build and bring people in and like make people buy into like an idea or a project if I can't promise that they're gonna get the stuff we said they're gonna get every month.
Mm.
Which is why Viperio was like the perfect choice for us, despite K10. I do respect K10 a lot in the sense that they are one of the only orgs right now in the UK that actually, there are a few others, but they're actually investing into the scene. Like I really think that's like they're really passionate about, especially Taz. Like he's really passionate about bringing a UK team through. It would have been quite easy for them to go. If we turned them down, it would have
Yeah.
been quite easy for them to then go and pick up, a random European team. But instead, yeah,
They did that.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So they didn't have to put out a tweet saying, K10 didn't have to put a tweet out saying they were looking to invest in UKCS and then go the opposite way, which, as much as everyone likes to meme on, including myself with their Twitter, you have to respect that when people come along and put some money back into the UKCS, you can't you can't take a piss for that, can you? Really, it's fair
No.
play to them.
Yeah,
Um,
completely. Yeah. And amidst all of that, you guys actually made some quite severe roster changes. One
mm,
expected, one unexpected. So firstly, you removed Ifan. That was a decision from your team, and I know we've had conversations about like it kind of had to happen because he was an easy fix for Ducky, and he
yeah,
wasn't like he didn't really fit the team properly. And you lost Awaken through not your choice. That was
Yeah,
a buyout from 7 a.m. So do you want to talk me
yeah,
through just losing the players first?
yeah, sure. So with Ifan, like Eric's was really good for us. You know, he came in and achieved all this stuff with us. You know, he won
Mm.
EPS. He had a huge role in that too. You know, his experience just in life. He was a little bit older than everyone else, so you know he's a bit more experienced in that sense. But he was really good. Like he had really good vibes, like team player wise. He was really good up on the stage, you know, hyping people up and everything like
Oh
that. Like he
yeah.
was really, yeah, like he was really important for our stuff. And like, there's no doubt about it. Like it wouldn't have been, we might not have won it, you know, if he wasn't there. But he was a quick fix for Ducky in the sense when we got him because when we picked him up, we had a couple of weeks before everything started after the player break, the summer player break, and that's when we were unsure if Awayken was staying with us at that point. So we were trialing AWPers at the time, and Ducky. We did like Ducky too. We wanted to keep Ducky. Um, we were trialing AWPers and Ducky, and then uh, Awaken and Riflers as well. So then we couldn't settle on an AWPer that we wanted. So we tried for like 3 weeks, couldn't settle on one. So we decided to keep Awaken and get Ifan in, which is the only one we could all come to agreement with Awaken to continue playing with. Um,
Okay.
so so essentially we kept, you know, Awaken and brought Eric in, and then we went on to do really well. Ducky coincidentally also has gone on to do really well since. So Ducky's, you know, still a beast, and that was probably the hardest roster decision that I've had to make since I've been in the team. Like that one was. I thought about that one long after that one had happened, especially when I see Ducky like farming like Cold Zero on HLTV. I'm like, God's sake, God's sake, Ducky, you just played bad one time. So that was hard. And now, when it's come to this point now, so we decided to, at the end of this season, if form hadn't really like picked up, we were going to make a change. And the only real logical one was with Ifan
Mm.
because he plays our anchor slash entry roles, and you know, we've even with Ducky, sort of one of the reasons we even considered ever changing Ducky as well was because he wasn't an out and out anchor. Like he hadn't played those roles before, and it's the same with Ifan. Like he's not like a real passive anchor experience in those roles. And so we thought about moving some roles around. Do we want to move some roles? We couldn't come to like me and Zoddy couldn't come to like a full agreement on like roles to move around. So eventually we just decided, okay, well, let's just while we've got the time now and we're going to be joining the new org, let's look for someone with a bit of experience in the role, even if it's a younger player. Um, at least like naturally wants to play those roles and
Yeah.
has the like attributes to play them. You know, he thinks about the game in that way where you know he's more suited to playing for himself, playing for his life, delaying the team. You know, so I think that's a huge part of it. And then about 48 hours after I told Eric that we're gonna remove him, I then get told, oh, you know, Dan or 7M have come in and I want to join them. So that was brilliant. Um,
New org, and then it's just everything falls away.
yeah, it didn't look like a good first impression probably to Viperio. They're probably
Oh,
like,
they
what
must
the,
have loved it. Yeah.
yeah, they're like, what have we got ourselves into? The annoying thing is with Slav, though I don't hold any like be easy to hold like bad feeling about him. Like I respect that team that they've got over there now is growing into a Bulgarian team, anyways. You know, they've got a Bulgarian coach and two Bulgarian players.
Yeah.
Only Beve and Dovo are UK on there, right? And so it is a bit of a like a Balkan team going on over there. So I don't blame him for wanting to go with his friends. And as he made it clear, you know, it is a business, and he wanted to make more money. So fair play. Like, but they had a boot camp on the Sunday, like 4 days after he told me, to which he wanted to go to the whole boot camp, which would then cover the UKIC event, right? So we really tried to come up with an agreement where he could fly home on the Friday, come play the UKIC with us. But even leaving there was Serbia they had to go to. Even leaving that, it was after everything we'd done, it was still too much of an ask to get him to come help us just for one last event. So unfortunately, I had to play, which was really good. It was really fun. It was really fun. Yeah, I don't even think I killed anyone the whole weekend, by the way.
Wait, you were AWPing?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
Jesus.
I whiffed on match point in the last map to knock us out. I bought it. I think that's the first time I bought the whole event. But yeah, so Slab decided to move on to bet, in his opinion, better things or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think now is like a good time for the team, especially with the org. It is the start of something new. We're finally
Yeah.
with an org that can provide us resource to attract better players and keep better players. And I think people ultimately, like, you only want people that want to be here, right? I could have sat there and
Yeah.
forced Awayken to stay, like, could have really, like, because he had signed with Viperio, he'd signed with us. He was all in, sending his clips ready for the highlight for the announcement video. He was all in, and then SENSEi gets banned, and then 12 hours later, oh, I want to leave. So, but yeah, there's no point in trying to keep someone that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, need to remember, like, what I think he does, but what he achieved with us. He was a huge part of that, but also everyone else was a huge part of it as well. He might have not have done that with anyone else. Ultimately, he might not have. He hadn't really had that much success before joining us. But I wish him luck, and hopefully, hopefully he has a good run in 7 a.m. But I felt worse for Eric after, because we decided, all right, we're going to make one change. Sorry, like, it has to be you, Eric. That wasn't easy. And then 24 hours later to get told that someone else is going to leave. We're in a very vulnerable position at that point. It could have got messy, but it didn't. So we're good.
Yes. Well, looking on more of a brighter side and coming this to a close, you've signed two players, Mango and Pandito. Pandito?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mango and
Yes.
Pandito. Super young team. You've now got, so you've moved away equally from like UK Counter Strike in a sense of, you've picked up another Danish person in Mango. So now you've got two Danish people, and then Pandito, who's from Czech Republic. So you still have the remnants of two cores of Danish and
Yeah.
UK, and I know you have ideas about qualifiers. So just looking at why these two players, what's the potential you see in them? It's a super young team, and what's your like plans for this roster, basically?
Yeah, sure. So I think, like, any project that I'm sort of involved with, I think you want to make sure, like, I always want to make sure that in my feeling, it has potential, So I always do look at age first, and
Yeah.
age is a big factor in it, in the sense of how much time they can commit to the game, and also like the ceiling for them to improve. It wasn't an easy decision. Initially, we were thinking about keeping it UK. That made the most sense, but
Who would you
ultimately,
have gone with if that was the case?
so we were trying Josh. Like,
Yeah.
I really like Josh. I think Josh there, like, I think he's great. He's a really nice guy. He did really well with the Dripmen guys, Black Hand and stuff. But ultimately, like, his situation, his uni stuff, he has a lot of uni work, and he couldn't fully commit, essentially.
Yeah.
So that one wasn't really worth the risk. That was the only UK option. I've really wanted to try Tree 360
Yeah.
in the past. I tried to get him before, but I tried to get him when we wanted to get Ifan, but we couldn't find time to try him, and we already knew Ifan, so it was quicker. So Tree is great. I think, like him, but he wouldn't. I did contact him, but ultimately he's happy where he is now, which I don't blame him. Especially like with Docs, I don't think there's anyone better really that you could play with right now. So that's good. But otherwise, apart from that, not really anyone else that
Yeah.
realistically we could have got. There was no one that was really worth. Because joining Viperio, like, it's a big risk, and like I have to take that into account as well. Like, we can't really take too much of a chance on, like, we sort of want some
Yeah.
experience, a little bit, advanced HLTV, whatever it may be. So with Pandito, me and Zoddy have known him for quite a while. He's only 18, but we've known him for a couple of years. We actually played with him before. And since then, he's played with Entropic a little bit. He's had some standing, like, games with the main team. He played on their academy team. He played with Dark Tigers, another, like,
Yeah.
Slovak team. Like, he's played few seasons advanced. A little bit of HLTV, but he is relatively unknown. Like most people, watching this aren't going to know him.
I didn't know him, to be fair.
No, exactly. No one. But that's the fun part about it. When you get them in the server, you try them, and you're like, oh, this guy's like nuts. Like, I mean, he's been like unreal in our pracs. Like, he really surprised us all, I think. And then Mango, because we were considering going Danish core. So we was like, well, we can't go UK, maybe we just go Danish. And we had a chat with the org to see, if sticking to a UK core was like really that important. To which they then agreed, well, if you want to go Danish, we can try it. So we was going to try that. We tried a couple of Danish, like a couple of Danish like players. So we had a core in the server. But Pandita was just too good when we played with him. Like, it was like, this guy's like nuts, Don't want to put pressure on him, but he's like he is the first player we've had in the team where it's felt like we had like a proper anchor there, which is really nice. And we had some good results with him in pracs and stuff. And we knew him, right? So we knew his personality.
It wasn't an unknown like Danish guy that maybe like has been vouched for by someone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we knew him, we knew his personality, we know what he's like to sort of be with, and he knows us more importantly. So like, he knows our like personalities and how we like to do stuff. So it always helps when you know someone a little bit, even if no one else does. Like, they'll know him soon enough. Like, there's no worries about that. Like, I genuinely think he has like a really good chance to make it like pro. I'm surprised he hasn't. Yeah, although he's had like little stints of Entropic and stuff, I'm surprised he hasn't had more in the Czech stuff. But he has won a LAN. He won a LAN in Switzerland recently, which is quite cool for him. So he's got a bit of experience on the stage and winning stuff. And then Mango, we tried XI Esports, a Danish team. They have like their duo, Mango and Boy. They both had like, we just was scouting through the Danish leagues, trying to see who we could get, seeing who stood out the most in the roles and stuff, like messaging them, what roles do you play. Mango and Boy stood out the most. Like, Mango's stats, there was only, I think they were second in the whole Danish league on the AWP, or like out of all their divisions, and they have a lot of divisions. And their top league's very good. Yeah, the Power League like main division is really good. It's got like Sashi and Australis Talent and all that competing in it. Like, it's not a bad league, and he's only second on there to Breezer, who we also ex-Australis Talent player. We also tried to get him. We almost got him once before. So we've had a couple of stints with Breezer where we almost had it, but then ultimately he decided to stay with his current team, Scepter.
Yeah.
Which then we Mango was like highly recommended to me by a few people, and seeing his stats, they were just like crazy. He was on Masonic recently, who's people might know. Masonic have been a very good team in the past. Like, normally they used to be around top 50. So they've had some very good players, but when he was on Masonic, he wasn't AWPing. So their org owner, he on the team that Masonic picked him up from, he had like a solid like 1.3 or something in like domestically. So they picked him up thinking like, this guy's the next big thing. Like, he's crazy. He's like 5k elo on face it, 1.3 rating on.
Whacked him with the rifle.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, let's put. Oh, we've got Christu. We won't take Christu off the AWP. Let's put Mango on the rifle. Fair enough, right? But then it's like, that's maybe the problem you have when you have all owners deal with, roster decisions, because they look at HLT, not HLT, they look at the domestic stats or whatever it might be, mischief stats when he puts them out. So he's a 1.3, 1.4. This guy's nuts. Let's just get him, and then if he is that good, maybe we can sell him on or something. But he went and did a bit of rifling for them. It didn't work out, and then the whole Masonic roster got dropped. But I'm not surprised. But we trialed him with Pandito. And like, I don't know, we're all like very surprised. Like, all the players that we've, like, Zolly, Marco, Regan, like, everyone's been surprised in how good they've been. We're like, don't know, it's weird. Every time we make a roster change, you come through it and you think maybe everyone thinks like that, but you come through it thinking like, we've actually come out of this like really good. Obviously you don't want to jinx it and like we turn out to be crap, right? But like, on paper, I'm thinking like the team's much better now than it was, which is crazy to think when you everyone's like, oh, Awayken's gone. He was like your best player by miles, or like, I genuinely believe like these two players that we've got, and like the players that we still have, like this lineup that we're gonna have, like, is by far the best roster we've ever had, like, player for player. Also, like role suitability, like it makes the most sense up until this point. So like the composition of the team's probably in the healthiest it's been in. We've got a bit more like the players have a bit more of like relatable stuff in common. You know, we've got like 2 Danish players now. It's a bit, of course, it would have been easier to go 3 Danish or 3 UK, so the least you can lean one side or the other and play, you know, the UKIC stuff. But ultimately, it was like how we play in so many like European events where we're like we get invited to quite a lot of decent stuff now.
Yeah.
Like we may as well just position ourselves in the best way we can and for those.
Oh, shit.
Oh no, it's all gone laggy.
No, my camera's run out. It's overheating. Oh, okay.
Was
Well,
it?
we'll put my face on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but the ultimately it's like we may as well position our team in the best way possible, you know, for all
Yeah.
these European events, rather than just, all right, let's pick up like a worse player than Pandito and we'll play UKIC. Like it wasn't. I don't think it really made sense. Like with UKIC, it's like we've agreed for the next season we're going to play with Rory Crifes. So Pandito will be stepping out for those things, and we'll be using Crifes, which is a fun little storyline because he was with Viperio before. So we'll reignite. Yeah, we'll reignite the Viperio loving with Rory. So we'll have him for the next one. So that, you know, we'll still do fine. Like we should be making playoffs in those things, and we're lucky that we can get someone like Rory. You know, Rory's nuts. Like we can get him to come help
Good
us with
pickup.
that stuff. Yeah, like I'm sure he'll be like looking for his own team and stuff. But you know, we've agreed, and you know, in the time being, at least while he hasn't got one or another UK team, that he's going to help us with that stuff. So that's really cool. And then we hope to play like Elisa's and, you know, Nordic qualifiers and things like that with a Danish sub, and then we'll just, you know, they don't come around too often where it's going to be
Changing
where it's
people
gonna,
in and out every
yeah,
2
like
minutes.
once a week. Yeah, they're only going to be few and far between. Like the UKIC thing, you know, that's like 1 or 2 games a week. You know, like 3 weeks every 3 months. It's like it's not that, and like the players are happy to do that. And then the Nordic ones, like we just, if they become like there's so many, we just won't play them because like we want to play with our main team as much as possible. But it just opens the opportunity up, like having 2 players from 2 places, and then because we're not playing like the super high enough level, we can, you know, we can get Rory and then still we can still win the thing, you know. I mean, Viperio made the RMR using Rory as a stub, just like as a, you know, a stand-in, so it's not too annoying for us. And then we still have our main team to actually like play in the CCTs of, you know, whatever the replaces CCT, but European Pro League, CCTs, Pinnacle Cups. You know, we're playing the competition. We're actually playing our first official next week with this team in Hattor Games. It's called.
Oh, I didn't realize there were any more officials at the end of the year.
Yeah, I know. We got invited to a tournament, like a Ukrainian tournament. It's got Sashi, it's got Anonymo in it.
Is this the one with Royals as well?
Might be. I don't know.
I
I
think
haven't
it
seen them on
is.
the list though. It's called
Royals.
like Hattor Games, but
Yeah,
we're
I
playing
think
in
it
that next
is.
week. So we have a little game then.
Okay.
We go on break on the 22nd
Yeah.
until we're on break till the 22nd, and we've got the 3rd, and then of course we come back and we're straight into like all the RMR quals, all ESL Pro League conference at the end of January, of course.
Yeah.
So we can play all that. I've been told that we can play all that with our well, the Pro League conference still. I've been told that we can even play that with our main lineup. So, like the majority of things, we can just play with our normal team, and then
Yeah.
just like the domestic league. You know, like as great as UKIC was and is, and the experience was great and everything. Ultimately, it wasn't worth sacrificing like what we thought was, you know, it might have been a downgrade in skill or in the position to justify, you know, having like a full-time UK player there. So yeah, that's the plan for now. I think it's very exciting from our point of view. You know, we have 2 players that people don't really know, and hopefully like
Yeah. It's
they'll get to
interesting.
know very soon. And like I think every time we've gone through a change, like I've always got messages like, oh, like why you picked that guy up? That guy's shit, or why we did that? You know, when we got Eric at the first time and we kicked Ducky. Even in the replies on the thing, it was like, you know, what the fuck, blah blah blah. You know,
Yeah.
what's all this stuff? And then, you know, a month later, like, yeah, we win like, you know, the biggest event and stuff. So like you never really know how things pan, right? But up until this point, we've been quite fortunate. So I think these ones will be really cool. It was quite. I will say this though, with the org, I mean, it is crazy how like the amount of interest that we had to join was like unbelievable. It's like when I was looking for AWPers with Raptors, there's like it's like the bit dust blew past me, like it's like bloody hell, is there anyone want to join? Like anyone?
Please,
And then,
someone.
yeah. When this one, like I felt so bad, I had to delete the tweet that we were looking for people after
Jesus.
about 3 days because like the DMs are just like the messages were just crazy and like adding me on Steam and like some people like they've played like 10, 11 advanced seasons, like really experienced players. I had agents messaging me trying to sell me like an agent messaged me trying to sell me Banjo from Havu, and I was like, I don't think I can afford him, mate. I think he's very good. But I'm like, well, it's just crazy, like the amount of interest. So I do feel bad, and I haven't got back to everyone yet to say. But the two people that we ended up going with, we did contact before it was public that we were looking for people. So like we did get the people we wanted. So the two people we got, we did contact. They didn't apply, if you like, but
Yeah.
the amount of the amount of interest was actually mad, to be honest. Like we could
Jesus.
have built like 4 teams, to be honest. So hopefully we picked the right two.
Wait, isn't Banju still on Havu?
Yeah, you bet. He's I guess not for long.
Oh, God, Jesus.
There's your scoop. I guess not for long.
Okay, well, I guess on that note, unfortunate for Ban, I was like, I swear he still plays for Havu. Okay,
mate, you might not
well,
be getting kids. You never know. It's all about, as Slav said, it's all about business. So, so whoever can pay you the most.
Christ. Okay, well, Papp, Dan, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I think that was a very comprehensive interview. We spoke about pretty much everything there was to speak about. Thank you so much for joining me. And I think it's a really interesting roster you've got going on here. And with the amount of interest you've had, hopefully this is the roster that succeeds. And I do like the mentality of maybe not having people questioning the roster and then you guys succeeding out of it. I think that's pretty cool. And that's what you did with Ifan, and hopefully be able to do it again with this new home. And good luck in the RMRs after New Year. Viperio org buff.
Thanks, mate.
Who knows what's going to happen?
They're used to being there. That's the problem. So
yeah, true.
There's a bit of extra pressure. I think it's easy.
No, it won't be easy at all. But I think if you guys have already done something like winning EPS, then the sky's the limit. Hopefully. But with that, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching another UKCS interview. We haven't done many of these. Kind of do them when something's exclusive on. So thank you very much, Dan, and I will see you later. Thanks, I will see everyone later. So thank you very much, guys, and see you next time.